for delay. You came and you paid, surveyed the property you made. Put in an offer you didn't have to say. I got it made for real. It's been like God in here. Bitch got a grace appeal. They stick with annoying, what else am I supposed to feel? But you come in, put your feet up, how you waiting here? Let me back up while you do you, I'm on NFL. Check my feng shui, I can rearrange the chandelier. Get a show ready where you set it
Lord,
up.
I ain't too grand for man. The prayer talking gotta make them feel I'm something special, I ain't just a vessel. I found your word was my way to heal. Now I'm outside trying to spread the message. The devil dripping, he been causing wreckage. My testimony went from declining to the upper hand, finally gave me leverage. What I felt was a stretch, it led to agility. You were the balance, I needed stability. All the allure, spirit so pure, from Father to Son like the holiest Trinity. Open arms, I receive the blessings. In every lesson, hope to see progression. The more you lead me to community, the more I see a need for intercession. Gotta pray for.
I'll be your temple, I'll be your sanctuary. You can come dwell here. Won't you come and fill me? Jesus, have your way.
Greetings, and welcome back to the Fly Show, where the Fly stands for First Love You. This is yours truly, your host, Jazzy D Mills, and I'm excited about everyone that is joining back here on the Fly Show. So if you have not, make sure you go check out our YouTube page, The Fly Show with Jazz, and subscribe, like, share, and hit that bell button so that every time we go live, anytime that we post something, you will be notified. And if you have not, make sure you share our page with your friends, share it in your communities, because we are doing some phenomenal things here on the Fly Show. We're having some great and real and raw and relatable conversations. So I want you all to make sure you tune in every single week right here on the Fly Show. All right. So as you know, we are in our dating series, Dating the Fly Way Through Faith with Love and Dating You. And tonight, the episode tonight is a little bit personal. I know we had a phenomenal first 4 weeks in our first month of this series, and now week 5. Tonight is about healing after heartbreak. And I'm guessing you're wondering, how do we talk through all of the other stuff that we've talked about prior to, but now we want to tackle healing? And I think healing is very important. And if you've been paying any attention or watching any of the previous shows of this series, we've been talking a lot about healing. But what we have not really broken down is how do we heal after breakup? How do we heal after divorce? How do we heal from that heartbreak? And tonight we're going to begin a little bit personal. Well, I'm going to get a little bit personal in regarding to my journey, because as many of you know, I went through a divorce in 2023, and it was one of the most devastating things that I've had to encounter. Some of you don't know that I've been divorced twice. And each time is like it not to say that the first one was not painful or heartbreaking, but it was kind of like reliving that heartbreak all over again, because we get in a marriage and we find someone, we date them, and we fall in love and all the things, and we dream about the things that we want to build with each other, in the children that we want to share or adopt. For some people that can't have children, even our pets and things like that, we have so many conversations about what we want our lives to look like. And sometimes it just doesn't go the way that we want it to go. So tonight, I want you to first know that you are not broken beyond repair. You are not unworthy of love. And this season or that season, whenever it was, does not and did not define you. It's just a part of the journey. But it's unfortunately a part of the journey that a lot of us have to go through. And it leaves us in a situation of trying to figure out how to feel like me again. How do I get me back? How do I get to know who I am? How do I heal after heartbreak? The Bible reminds us in Psalms 34:18 that the Lord is close to the brokenhearted, and he saved those who are crushed in spirit. God sees you. He knows every tear you've cried, and he's sitting right there in pain with you. Divorce and heartbreak, they're not just endings, they're transitions that God can use to build something beautiful on the inside of us. All right. So first, we want to. Well, first, let me hold on. Let me shout myself out real quick because first of all, I look like a whole auntie up here. You know what I mean? Before we tackle the heaviness, let's tackle how good your girl looking. Shout out to my girl, my stylist. Her name is Johnny. Her salon is Mimo Vision Salon and Studio. She's right here in the great city of Atlanta. She's been my stylist for the last 10 years. You see this color in here, and if you can't see, you see that purple and that blue. It's in there. But I just had to give her a quick little shout out just for being so amazing with my hair. And she's been my only stylist for the last 10 years. I love her. So if you're in the Metro Atlanta area and you're looking for someone that is licensed, that knows what they're doing, that cares for hair, that knows how to treat your hair, make sure you go follow Mimo Visions on Instagram and go check my girl Johnny out. She does locks, she does natural hair. So go check her out and tell your girl Jazzy D Mills sent you. All right. But back to the show. All right. Let's first talk about the grief of a heartbreak, the grief of a divorce, the grief of a breakup. We first have to know how to name what that is. You know what I mean? Because some people, we go through a depression, we go through a heartbreak, we don't want to get out of the house. Sometimes people don't want to take a bath, they don't want to eat anything, they don't brush their teeth, they don't comb their hair, they don't change their clothes. It's like we go on a automatic autopilot. It's like we know the things that we're supposed to be doing every single day, like taking the kids to school, paying the bills, going to work. We know that these are things that we're supposed to be doing. So we're so mentally familiar and accustomed to doing those things that we're on autopilot because we're grieving in that heartbreak. You're not just a grieving person. You're grieving the life that you thought you were going to be living forever. The plans that you made, the version of yourself that you used to be when you were who you were becoming. Grief comes in many, many unfortunate stages. The first stage of grief is denial. Because sometimes you sit in disbelief, like, is this really over? I can't believe that everything that I dreamed of, everything that I prayed for, everything that I fought for is over. Everything that I planned is over. It's a lot of eyes in that, right? We're going to tackle that later. The second stage is anger. You may feel angry at the person, you may feel angry at the situation, you may feel angry at yourself, and in some cases, you're angry at God. Why did you take this away from me? And I'm not gonna lie, I told y'all this is gonna be a transparent and personal night for me. I felt angry at God because I was like, God, this is what I prayed to you for. This is what I asked you for. Why did you take it away from me? Why did you let me go through? Why are you taking me through this? It feels like a death that you never will get over. That's what it felt. That's what it felt like to me. Going through a divorce, realizing that it was over, realizing there was no reconciliation, that it was no turnaround, it was no changes. It was hard. It was super hard. And I'm trying my best not to get emotional on here with y'all because y'all ain't finna be out here embarrassing myself. But if I do, that just lets you know that's just how real it was, And then you start bargaining. You think about, okay, if I just, or what if I, or how about, then maybe it'll work. But then you have to ask yourself, why is it that I'm willing to negotiate my standards and my non-negotiables just to make something work? Is it worth you lowering your expectations and your standards just to say that you have somebody, just to say that you want to make it work? Some situations, yeah, because there are some standards that we set that are just diabolical. Let's just be clear and keep it 100. Let's keep it a buck. There are some things that we look for, some things that we request, some things that we're praying for, some things that we're hoping for are just not feasible, and it's not meant for you to have. It's like we set our bar so extremely high that even Jesus might, in your opinion, you think Jesus gonna fail. You think God ain't gonna be able to deliver what you're asking for. So we start to bargain. You know what I'm saying? And then the heaviness of it all, the next stage in grief is a depression. You get heavy and you get sad and you don't feel like yourself no more. You don't. If for me, my situation, I ended up in the hospital. I was out with one of my friends. Me and her, we lived in the same apartment complex. And if she's watching, she knows exactly who I'm talking about. We lived in the same apartment complex. I had moved out, got my own place and everything, me and my sons. And we were out one day. I came home and I was on the phone with some of my church friends. And the next thing I know, it felt like I had the wind knocked out of my chest. It felt like I was kicked in my chest. My vision blacked out. I almost dropped to my knees. And my friends were on the phone laughing and joking. And I was quiet. And they was like, Jazz. Oh, she probably said, hold on. And I had to grasp the little piece of air that I had just to ask for help. I had to sit down, give them my son's phone number because I couldn't walk. It's like my body became numb. I had my son in the house, both of my sons. And at the time, my youngest, whom y'all know is a little preacher, he was about 2 years old. And my other son was about maybe 14, 15. They had to call my son in order to get the emergency people to come get me. So here I am sitting at my table. The fire department, the EMTs, EMS, or whatever you want to call it, are coming through my door. And my sons are watching their mom getting worked on at this table. And it's nothing that they can do to help me. I still can barely breathe. I'm partially incoherent. I call my brother to come get my sons. By the time I got out the door for them on the stretcher and they was carrying me through the ambulance, my brother was at my door to get my kids. Don't worry about it, sis. We got them. I get to the emergency room. My friend comes to the emergency room with me. They run CT scans, MRIs, EKGs, blood work, every test that you can think of almost. Nothing. My blood pressure was perfect. No heart attack, no signs of a stroke. My vitals were good. My blood was perfect. The only thing that they could find was I was a little fluffy girl. So I'm sitting in that hospital. My friend calls my dad, who is in Jamaica, tells my dad what's going on, calls my mom, tell her what's going on, calls my brother, my other brother, tell him what's going on. And I'm in the emergency room and I get to the doctor. The doctor comes in my room and he says, tell me what happened. Give me the rundown of your day. I told him everything that I had did. And he's looking at me and he said, with a straight face. And he looks at me and says, what are you stressing about? Because whatever it is trying to kill you. And if you don't let it go, the next time you come in here, you're going to be either on your way up out of this door, or you're going to be in had a stroke or a heart attack. What you had was a panic attack, an anxiety attack. And I need, for whatever it is that you're going through or whatever it is that you're dealing with, I need for you to let it go. Which brings me to the next stage of grief. You have to sometimes just learn to accept it by finally saying, it happened, but it doesn't have to define me. It doesn't have to control me. It doesn't have to take over my life because of what I went through. It doesn't mean that's who I am. That's just a part of my journey. These stages aren't always in that order. You might cycle from acceptance to anger to depression, and you may go through it over and over and over and over. And guess what? That's okay. But the most important thing you have to do is you have to go through it in order to heal from whatever that heartbreak was. Walking through my divorce, there were times I would wake up and wish that I hadn't. Why do you still have me here? Why do I keep going through this? Why is it that I feel like I take 5 steps up and I get kicked 20 steps back? Some days I ain't feel strong. Some days I ain't even feel like a mama. Some days I didn't feel like I showed up like I should have for my kids. I felt like a failure. I felt like a failure. And it would hit me all over again. The enemy sat in my mind so heavy that he wanted me to feel like I didn't matter. He wanted me to feel like that was what was my life was going to look like forever. That was going to be a constant failure. So my prayer became, God, lift me up in this season. Pull me out from this heaviness, because I can't sit here. I got kids. And not only do I have kids, I got me. I got to live for me. Where's my comfort? Where's my joy? Where's my peace? And when I began to pray for those things, that's when my healing started. That's when my healing started. I got out of the bed. I started to face life head on. You want to fight? Cool. Say less. I had to learn how to give myself permission to feel everything that I felt. I had to learn how to not rush my healing process. I had to learn that just because this person over here is looking good doesn't mean that I got to look the same. Every person's journey is not going to look like yours. Somebody may heal in a week. Somebody may wake up on Wednesday, get their heart broke Wednesday night. They good. But you have to learn how to go through your process. Secondly, I had to find a support system. Someone that will love on me. Someone that will pray for me. Someone that will check on me. Because truth be told, this is the month of, not the month. It's a lot of people going through so much that brings on thoughts of, homicide, suicide, unaliving somebody, all the things. It brings out a lot of that. But when you have that support system that can pull you out of that dark space, when you can lean and trust and depend on God to pull you out of that dark space, lean on that support system. Don't feel like you got to go through this by yourself, because you don't. You don't. There are ways to get help. And most importantly, don't feel shame about it. Because God uses people to help you heal. Yeah, he it's in his will. Yeah, he wrote it out, but sometimes he uses people to help you get what you need. When I was in my darkest moments, I would set a little goal for myself. Today I'm gonna get up. Today I'm gonna eat something. Today I'm gonna get out of my house and go for a walk. Today I'm gonna cook a meal because I love to cook. I had to find ways to get back to me. Excuse me for a second. I had to find ways to get back to me. I had to start a hobby, find something different, do something different because I had to get me back because I wanted to live again. And I was talking to my dad going through those times, which I know y'all, if you remember what I said, my dad was in Jamaica. My dad flew home after their trip, which just so happened to be the next day. My dad flew home, drove from Atlanta back to my hometown, took my grandmother-in-law, my bonus mom, took them back home, slept an hour, drove back to Atlanta just to come see about me. And the scripture that my dad gave me was Isaiah 61:3. God will give beauty for ashes, joy for mourning, and a garment of praise for a spirit of heaviness. You may feel like your life looks like a pile of ashes right now, but God promises that he will create something beautiful from those ashes. Because we are all made from dirt. And everything that God created, it was good. So know and understand that even though it looks like a pile of dirt to you, it looks like a masterpiece to God. And it ain't nothing that you can't give him crumbled, broken, shattered, bruised, distorted, that he can't clay that thing up and put it back together. Because the song says the potter wants to put you back together again. And you have to find yourself. I had to find myself. One of the hardest parts of divorce or a breakup is feeling like you've lost yourself. Because you were so tied to that relationship. You were so tied to that person. And now you don't even know who you are anymore. But there is a season that we have to go through called rediscovering yourself. Not who you are in a relationship, not who you are as a mom, not who you are as a dad, not who you are on your job, but who you are as God says you are. So what I had to do, I had to write a letter to myself. I had to write a letter to not who the heartbroken me was. I had to write a letter to the person that God created me to be. I wrote things like, you are the apple of God's eye. You are his chosen one. You are strong. You are joyful. You have a heart of peace. You have a heart of gold. You know how to encourage yourself. You are an inspiration. You are motivation. You are strong. You are healthy. You will laugh again. Your smile brings joy to the world. You walk into a room and joy fills up with it because you're in there. This letter to myself reminded me every single day that, Jazz, you're not a failure. Jazz, that's just a part of your process. What you thought was to last forever, it wasn't meant to be. And that's okay. So I started to pursue myself. I started to date myself. I started to do different things. I started to take care of me. I became conscious about my health. I'm not ashamed to tell it. I was 350 pounds going through my divorce. A friend of mine told me when they first saw me, during that time was when I met this friend, I looked like the meanest, nastiest, evilest person. And another friend told me I looked like I was the walking dead. I would drop my son off at daycare and his teacher wouldn't greet me. She wouldn't say hi because she thought I was the meanest person she'd ever met or had ever seen, should I say, because she still hadn't met me. She looked at me walking through the door and took my physical appearance of what I was going through and thought I was the meanest person ever. Until she met me, until she got to know me for me, and she was only able to get to know me for me because I started to learn who I was. And I broke the shell that I sat in. I started to chip at the walls that I built around myself because I started reestablishing my identity. Who am I now? I started using my testimony. I started sharing what I was going through in my journey. I started to talk about it. And when you talk about it, you're able to release it and you're able to help someone that may be going through the same thing, to let them know it's not just you and you're not in this by yourself. I had to learn how to affirm myself, but most importantly, I had to build my relationship with God. Because I had to come to realize that I had put my relationship above him. I idolized my relationship, that I wasn't praying to him. I wasn't seeking his face. I wasn't meeting him. I wasn't talking to him like I should have. And sometimes when you put stuff in front of God, he will snatch it from under you. And it will make you feel like your world just shattered. But God is a jealous God. And there should never be another God before him. So I had to succumb to the fact that I idolized something. Not to say that, oh, my marriage is reconcilable or reconcilable, however you say it. Don't judge me. Because it's not. But what it did, it brought me closer to what I had lost. It brought me closer to him, right? It brought me closer to knowing God. So for anyone that is going through a heartbreak, anyone that is going through a divorce, anyone that is going through a grief period, if you want to share, if you feel comfortable to share, I would love to hear from you. I would love to encourage you. I would love to let you know that you don't have to walk this by yourself. So this is what I want you to do. All right. This is what I want you to do. I want you to write a letter. It don't have to be a letter. It could be a sentence. But I want you to finish this. Dear me, I am proud of you for, and finish whatever you're proud of yourself for. Even if all you can write is I'm proud of you for getting out of the bed today. That is a start. And if you feel comfortable with sharing, share it with me. Email me, theflyshowwithjazz@gmail.com. The spelled out THE fly FLY show, SHOW, with WITH, Jazz, JAZZ, at gmail.com. And let's remind each other that we are not alone. I know this is not going to be an easy journey. This wasn't even an easy episode for me to do, but I had to do it. I have to be obedient because I can't help if I don't tell my testimony. We can't heal from what we don't face. And I want to let you know that you don't have to face this alone. Heartbreak and divorce, they leave scars. They leave scars. And sometimes when you think, okay, I'm good, sometimes you think about some stuff and you may have a moment where you shed a little tear. But know that those scars make the story of your survival. They can tell the world and they can tell you that even though I may have been broken in this moment, I still made it through. I still have something that I can hold on to that I know that didn't destroy me. So let me affirm you tonight. I release what was. I embrace what is. And I trust God for what's to come. Affirm that with me. I release what was. I embrace what is. And I trust God for what's about to come. You are not broken. You're just being rebuilt. And God is the best. And the best is still ahead of you. Thank you so much for tuning in with me here on The Fly Show, where the fly stands for First Love You. Don't forget to go to our YouTube page and like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell notification so you can be notified every time we have a new episode on our YouTube channel. All right, so let's build up our subscribers over there on YouTube. Share this with someone that may need the encouragement, that may need the inspiration, that may be going through a heartbreak, that may be going through a divorce, that may be going through a grieving period, to let them know, sis, bro, you're not alone. And we got your back. So make sure you catch me back here next Thursday, live right here on The Fly Show, where the fly stands for First Love You. Until then, make sure you take care of yourself and remember God loves you and you deserve to love yourself too. First love you because you absolutely deserve it. Have a good one. See you next week.
I'll be your temple. I'll be your sanctuary. You can come dwell here. Won't you come and through? Jesus, have your way. Jesus, have your way. I got it made. I got it made. You never delay. You came and you paid. So